We are back with Kevin Wilson Baseball, professional hitting consultant, keynote speaker, and author of 2 books. And now we're going to talk about mentoring. So I'm going to have Kevin discuss mentoring and his current role, and then also what has helped him to get to where he is today.
Yeah, thanks, Caleb. Appreciate it. Mentoring, I'm a mentor first. I mean, you said professional hitting consultant. Most people look at me in the baseball world, at least, as a hitting coach and a hitting consultant. That's probably about 10% of what I do. Now, 90% of what I do is that life coach, that mentor, because honestly, we all need a mentor. We all need to be mentored. And I think that we all need a life coach, so to speak, or someone that can walk alongside of us in our journey in life. I happen to be in the baseball world where, in my opinion, it's one of the most toxic workplaces you could ever be in. It's corporate America. Most people might think it's a game. It really isn't a game. It's a corporate America, as you have seen yourself and being involved in professional baseball. And so there's a lot of elements here that are not a lot of swing mechanic and a lot of that. It has a lot to do with understanding, why you're playing baseball, understanding the politics of stuff, understanding where your where your seat on the bus is, so to speak. So I take great joy and pride in being able to mentor these guys, because when I retired from baseball, we had a hitting coach and we had a mental skills coach. Some of us did, and not all the teams had it. Now they all have them, and but I didn't see a guy that could blend the two.
Right.
And one minute we're talking mechanics, and the next minute we're talking approach, the next minute we're talking about our wives and our kids, and we're talking about, man, this happened, my father passed away or whatever. There was nobody to kind of be able to be in one person blended together.
Right.
And so I tried to fill that void with the mentoring being the top piece to it, because I didn't see it in the game as much as I saw the other stuff. So with the mentor piece, that's what I take the most pride in. That's what I spend the most time on, because it's important. Because if we're not right as a person, if we're not being poured into, like we talked about in the previous video, if we're not being poured into ourselves through mentors, or we're mentoring others, one of the best things is to help others,
right.
To feel good about yourself. There's this whole debate about, where does happiness come from? Where does
right.
joy come from? That's a whole nother video for that. But when we help others, when we be that servant leader we talked about before, and when we mentor others, there's that sense of like joy and there's happiness because we're helping others. And so being a mentor to others, and again, the permission thing is huge. Like you have permission to mentor. Like we don't need to be mentoring on this grand scale of mentoring an audience of 1,000 people, or start with one. It could be your best friend, it could be your roommate, doormate, it could be whoever it is. And I'm a big believer in this. You've heard me talk about before, but all it takes is 5 minutes to change someone's life. And so with those 5 minutes, think about it, you're standing in Starbucks for 5 minutes, right? You're on your Instagram for 5 minutes, on Facebook or whatever. All it takes is 5 minutes to change someone's life. So if you're a mentor to somebody, it doesn't have to be anybody of significance in your mind. In my mind, everybody's of significance. We're all going through the same thing. So you have permission to mentor somebody. And when you start doing that, when you start serving and mentoring, then you are able to, I guess what's the best word for it? You're able to receive mentorship back, because a lot of us, especially men, I feel, we don't want to get help. My wife drives her nuts. Like, I don't ask for directions. And, we'll just ask this person. No, I'm going to go through 7 aisles in the supermarket and try to find out what I need.
Stubbornness.
Right.
Yeah.
So the mentoring piece is huge. And I think once we all start mentoring others and just helping, it's very small. It doesn't have to be elaborate, like I said. Now other people have permission to help us too. And so what goes out, we must be able to bring in. And so you talked about earlier about, who are some key people in my life. I have mentors too. So the mentor has mentors.
Right.
The coach has coaches. And I think that's where my job is too. Like, I'm also coaching the coaches. I coach high school coaches and college coaches and professional coaches. I coach front office people and corporate people and financial advisors and all that kind of stuff. So coaches need a coach. I certainly need mine.
Sure. So one really quick question would be, give us just a story of either how you were a mentor or how you felt like you were mentored, either early on in your career or to now, because the process of being mentored or to mentoring people, it never stops. It's not like, at 30 you're like, I don't want to be mentored anymore. I'm not going to mentor people.
Wow, there are many stories. I'm trying to pick out one story when I was younger. It's a story of permission, really, where when I started out in Kevin Wilson baseball, it was just given lessons, and it was in an academy setting for baseball lessons, and that was fine. But then as I went on about 7 or 8 years later, and I had retired from playing myself, I said, I want to help there. I want to be that blend. And so I went to a mentor of mine, a guy that I met up in Cape Cod. And he was a CEO. He was retired. He was older than me by many years, but his job as a CEO was to flip companies. He'd come in as a CEO, save the company, and then boom, out. Go in, and he made a lot of money doing it. Great man. And so here I am, a baseball player, recently retired, kind of a business person, but not really a business person. And I said, hey, this is what I want to do. It's not being really done in the game today. I kind of really have nobody to kind of see how they do it or whatever. And he gave me permission. He gave me a lot of help, but he gave me permission. He says, go do it. Just do it. Just do it. And he sent me to a video on YouTube by Art Williams called Just Do It. I don't know if you've ever seen that video. It's a great
We'll link
video.
to it, though.
We'll link to it. Art Williams, Just Do It speech. It's not a Nike talk. Just Do It speech that he had back in the 80s. And I went and saw that. And basically that video was give you permission to be able to set your price, to create your own consulting company the way that you want to do it in a high-stakes poker Major League Baseball that no one else was doing it. And I was surrounded by negativity. Oh, that's not going to work. No one's going to listen to you because I never played in the big leagues. So, big leaguers are not going to listen to you. Well, okay, we'll try. If they don't listen to me, they don't listen to me, but I'm going to try. He's one that really gave me permission early on to do it. And he set prices. I said, what do I charge?
Yeah.
And he goes, here, you're going to charge this. And I looked at that. I'm like, I can't even afford that right now myself. Right. I was young. Minor league baseball doesn't afford you all the riches that the big leagues do. So I was doing lessons because that was the way I made money. So the number on the piece of paper that he helped draw my business plan up for me, I said, I can't even afford that. How am I going to? He goes, but they can. And so he gave, I'm not going to go into the full story, but that's just a little bit of an example of a mentor that really poured into me, gave me permission, and helped me just do it and just start. Because the last thing I'll say is the start is what stops most people.
Very good. I'm glad we could end on that one. So that was mentoring. Thanks to Kevin Wilson, and we'll be back for more.